now. So I'm definitely, that's not my nature to do recordings because I'm not good at it. I keep forgetting. So yeah, I used to do land surveying, and I was good at it. My boss was very happy. I got the results that he wanted very quickly. I wanted to get out of the office as soon as I could so that I could go home and read the books or do some chanting. So I just was trying to be very efficient in my work. And the other guys in the team were surprised. I could have hung around a bit longer and made more money because they would do that. They drag it out, go slow so they get more wages. So, but I would just be Speedy Gonzalez, go real quick and do a good job. Because I don't want to come back. If I stuff it up, I have to come back and fix it up. So then I do a good job and get good results and do it very quickly. And he didn't have to pay me so much and got good results, but I didn't care about the money. I just wanted enough to survive. And but did I like it? No, I didn't, because I felt I was meant for something else. And talking about how you work it out, one astrologer, he looked at my astrology chart and said, if you don't preach, you're never going to be happy. And I knew that in my heart already. But when he said that, confirmed what I knew was true in my heart, that my nature is to teach, to teach, whether it's teaching gardening or teaching cooking or teaching spiritual knowledge or whatever like that. So that's more my nature. Of course, you can do other things. I mean, like I did the work of a land surveyor, and I've done so many things, the work of a chef and the work of a manager, managing a temple and so many things. So, but the so you have like a main occupation, and then a main occupation, and then you may have what's called emergency work. And unfortunately in Kali Yuga, the emergency work may carry on for months or years or decades or your whole life. So we should try not to do that. It means working outside your nature. Sometimes that may go on, and I've seen that. Someone I know, not talking about myself, people that I could see their nature is to be a Brahmin or a teacher, but what are they doing? To maintain their family, they're driving a taxi. I thought that's such a waste. He could be giving out, he's so good at giving the spiritual knowledge, everything, presenting the scriptures. And I was thinking about this one devotee I know in New Zealand. He's from India. He's from birth. He's in the culture, and then he's just real scholarly. He knows the Ramayana, the Mahabharata inside out. Quotes lots of verses, and he's good at singing the songs while he's presenting and everything like that. But then what did he end up doing? He's ended up driving a courier thing and taxi and everything. I was thinking, well, that's such a waste. Not only a waste for him, a loss for him, but for the whole society. He misses out on that knowledge, doesn't get that knowledge. So the thing is, what happens when you don't work according to your nature? What often happens if you're not doing what you like to do and what you're good at doing, then you yourself won't be very happy, and also the other people around you won't be happy. Because, of course, if you're not happy, that's going to affect those around you, right? It's not just, well, I'm unhappy. I mean, it's not a big deal. Okay, yeah, but if you're not happy, then, other people around you also won't be happy. So, and we shouldn't think that, well, we all have to have the nature of a Brahmana. No, so that's artificial. That's not sustainable. I mean, can you run a society just with Brahmanas?
No.
No. Actually, according to the Vedas, it's the Brahma. This is like, imagine like a social body, right? So you have a body. What parts does a body have? The social, like a body has a head, right? So the social body has a head. So what's the head of the social body? Is the Brahmanas. What does the head do? It gives direction. It gives you direction. And then the body has arms. I mean, so the social body, what are the arms of the social body? What does the arms do? They protect the body, right? So that's the Kshatriyas. They protect society. And then another part is the stomach. Is the stomach. So feeding the body. So what's feeding the social body? That's the Vaishyas. They're producers. That's the productive division. And in the body, you have the legs get you from A to B. You need legs. Legs are very useful to have. They get you from A to B. So what gets the work done in the social body is the Sudras. They do the work. They're the Brahmana and Kshatriya Vaishya, they're giving direction to the Sudras, engaging them in different kinds of work. Clean this, make this, dig the potatoes, do this, whatever like that, go and help in so many things. So they get the work done. So all are necessary. Would you say, I only need the head, No, of course you don't. You need your arms and your legs and your belly. You can't function. Of course, in one sense, maybe the head is the most important because, I mean, you can potentially survive without an arm or so, or you could survive without a leg, but you can't survive without a head. So Prabhupada was saying that modern day society is in so much chaos because there's no head on society. We have lots of Sudras in Kali Yuga, lots of Sudras and a few Vaishyas, and not many Kshatriyas and like almost no Brahmanas. So society's in chaos, no direction. It's completely lost. Actually, not just one time, but Prabhupada said, which was very interesting, he said that India is like a lame man, and the West is like blind, and the West is blind. And he said that by themselves, neither of them can do anything. But he said if they combine, like how can you combine a lame man and a blind man and then you can function? If the two work together, what can you do?
Can compensate for each other.
Yeah. So the lame man can carry the blind man. The lame man can carry the blind man. Oh, sorry, no, I thought wrong around. The blind man can carry the lame man. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because the lame man can see, but the blind man can walk. So Prabhupada suggested like that. He said like India is like lame. It's completely, it's not able to do the work proper, get the work, produce things, whatever. It's become poverty stricken. Yeah, poverty stricken. We use that word. And America in that is not poverty stricken, but they're completely lost. They're completely no direction. They can go in the wrong direction. They're blind. They get heading into a ditch. So he suggested that the West, India can take, utilize America's resources. American can give, resources to India, and India can give knowledge to America. And like that India can give it. So he did that. Prabhupada went to America and giving the knowledge, and he was able to utilize the wealth of America because his disciples, right, were collecting so much money, so many rich people, and they used it to build temples and print books, print millions of books. You needed money, right, to print those books and build temples in Vrindavan and Mayapur and Mumbai and so many places, big farms and everything. So combining the wealth of the West, and because they have the legs, the sudras, and the knowledge of the brahmanas of India like that. So that was an interesting way of doing it. But yeah, ideally we should serve uh, according to our nature, and then there's two kinds of work also. There's work that we have to do to maintain the body, obviously, and then there's work we have to do to go back to Godhead. So both need to go on side by side. Both have to go on side by side. Like I said, each day we do something to make money or produce food or maintain the house or whatever like that, and every day we do something for for our soul. So we chant Hare Krishna and we hear Isopanisad or Bhagavad Gita or whatever like that. So there's two kinds of work as well. Material duties and spiritual duties. But our material duties, see, spiritual duties, they're the same for everyone, right? Doesn't matter whether you're a Sudra or a Vaishya, Kshatriya, Brahmana, everyone has the same spiritual duty to chant Hare Krishna, read Bhagavad Gita, and, like that, and serve the Guru, however, whenever you can. And then, but the material duties are going to be different. So some devotee is doing some work as a Sudra, someone's doing work as a Vaishya, someone's doing work as a Kshatriya, like that. Does that make sense? I mean, it's a bit long-winded, it might seem, but it's a massive subject. When you talk about Varnashram, that's very complicated. It's a big subject. But yeah, how do you work it out like that? Generally, what you like to do, what you're good at doing. Also, like I mentioned, and you also indicated, is it through astrology? Yes. So, but whether you can find a good astrologer, because some of them are crooks as well. So, but I mean, I connected up with a good astrologer. He was amazing. He knew so much about me the very first time, and he'd never met me before, knew anything about me, but he told so much about my past. It's amazing. He knew about I had a bad relationship with my father and a good relationship with my mother. He knew I had an accident with my head, because I fell out of a tree and was unconscious. So he said, "Oh, you had something major happen with your head?" I said, "Yeah." And so he knew a lot of things. It was just amazing, and that was just through looking at just through giving him the time and place of my birth, and he knew all that stuff about me. So I didn't have much faith in astrology before that, and then after that, I thought, "Wow, this is pretty amazing knowledge." So, and then he said things like that, like you're not going to be happy unless you preach, but then he said other things too. He said you could make a living out of selling sweets, making sweets and selling sweets. And it's true, I somehow or other I'm good at making. I mean, I cook, but many things, but especially people like my sweets. So I mean, he knew that. I mean, so materially, I could do that work, to do with preparing food and selling food like that, and then spiritually, teaching others like that, So, would anyone like to say anything about any of those things?
Yeah, I think yeah, the division actually is, you said very good thing actually. If you're not doing what you're supposed to do, what your nature is, then you won't be happy. And most of the people today, they have got wrong information. They are going for money and all those things in a different way where they can get more money, but they might be going against their nature according to. So most of us are not happy. That's because we are going against it. But do you think the nature also pushes you towards what your actual nature is? If you try, you say, if you are you want to be a doctor, but you can't be a doctor because you don't have those capabilities naturally. Then you will be pushed. You won't be able to get into. Nature will push you towards. But still, at the end of the day, it's your, as you said, little bit of independence where you decide. And if you are wrongly directed by money and materialism, you might select a path which is not conducive to your nature or your real nature. So
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reason probably is of unhappiness in this world, I guess, in Kali Yuga, basically, because you're going here.
Yeah, this is some of the symptoms of Kali Yuga, that people are not situated properly according to their nature. And
What about schools? I mean, everyone is being pushed through the same hole, right?
yeah, I mean, the whole education system's wrong, because we're educating people that they're all the same, but they're not.
They are not.
You know, some people are mode of goodness, some are mode of passion, some are mode of ignorance. So in Gurukul system, you teach people, you teach the students according to their nature, different knowledge. You give them different knowledge according to their nature. And that's another way. So, you're 5 years old, you get sent to the Gurukul. The Guru, he's a Brahmana, means he's got a brain. He can see who's, what's what. So he studies the students, the young students, and he can very quickly identify this boy is a Brahmana, this boy is a Kshatriya, this boy is a Vaishya, this one's a Sudra. Like one time, there was a young boy, devotee parents, and they're all, and many of them were sent to the Gurukul. Prabhupada wanted Gurukuls, training the kids from a young age in Krishna consciousness. And this one particular boy, he was always creating a disturbance in the Gurukul to the teachers and the other students, and the teachers couldn't rectify him. He was just a disturbance. And they said, they explained to Prabhupada sort of the symptoms, what was happening. And Prabhupada very quickly said, oh, he's a Sudra. Send him to the field, to work in the field. So he's not cut out to be sitting in a class, like learning stuff. Some people are just not into that, So that's more intelligent, to educate everyone according to their specific nature, and not to be impersonal. Like modern education is very impersonal. Oh, everyone's the same. We say, men's equality, women's equality, even all men are the same, all women are the same, and men and women are all the same. Everything's the same. Not acknowledging any differences there, but there are differences. Even if you want to look between a man and a woman, Prabhupada, sometimes, caught a bit of flack for what he would say, but he would say things just very logical. Like, well, have you ever seen a man give birth to a child? No. So, I mean, there's a difference. How you can say equality? Spiritually, yes. Prabhupada said, spiritually, yes. Spiritually, we are the same. We're all servants of Krishna. We're all eternal souls, Satchidananda, that's the same. But materially, no, we have to acknowledge there are differences. There may be differences in the amount of strength. There may be differences in what functions you can do with your body, like give birth to a child. One sex can, one can't, like that. So, you have to, work according to those things. And if you have one of the one sex looking after the kids, they come out really good. And if you put the other sex, I don't want to say which one that is, the other sex looking after the kids, they turn out bad. Because man's nature is detached. So they tend to be a bit sloppy, like with looking after kids and everything like that. Whereas woman's nature is to be attached. So, and being attached in terms of looking after kids is a good thing, because they tend to get looked after really well when you've got a very attached, mother looking after the kids. Then that boy, that girl can grow up into, like we were reading about, to be a perfect gentleman, because he was protected and nourished and everything and loved so much by a very attached, woman. But now, I mean, my wife, she said something ridiculous. She said today that there was this couple, with their child wanted to go from New Zealand to Australia, and it was all mucked up because of the lockdown in New Zealand, and they had lost so much money, and they were having to charter a private plane, a private flight to go to up north in Australia or something. But when she mentioned they were two men,
Oh, yeah.
two men, and they had a daughter or something. I don't know how they got the daughter, adopted, or maybe one of them was married to a woman, before or something, and got it from there. But it's just the chaos. How are they going to look after a child? Without a woman there, it's a mother. A man can't take the role of a mother. That's not, I mean, a man could take the role of a father, of course, and, but not the role of a mother. I mean, you can try, but it's like me, being a land surveyor, it's you don't like it, and
That's
you're
an
not going to be as
example.
good.
Yeah, that's an example of going against the nature. I mean, everyone has a purpose. Woman, man, or anybody. They are created for some purpose, right? In this material world, they have a role to play, I guess. But if you are changing those roles, then you're going against the nature, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, now we're having today that many men are becoming more and more like women. And many women are becoming more and more like men. Even some women take steroids in there, right? And they got big muscles and everything. What's that? Oh, Johnny's saying something about Kali Yuga.
Kali Yuga, that's it. That's what it is. Man. Totally. I mean, going against. I mean, basically not seeing what not able to see the real thing, but just making up, concocting something up.
Yeah, and the end result, that's all through the Vedas. Phalena Parichate. You judge a process by the result. So, okay, you do something that's not fitting your nature and try to be someone else or whatever. And then, but what's the result? Are we happy? People around us happy? No, then obviously it's a wrong process, And, Vedic culture, you find out who you are physically and spiritually and mentally, physically, mentally, spiritually, on all levels. You figure out, it gets told to you by the guru, or you figure it out when you read the books yourself, that who you are, on physically, spiritually, everything. And then you start to become happier and more peaceful. And well, that's a good process, isn't it? It makes sense. I mean, everyone's goal, right, is to be happy. But how are you going to be happy if you don't know who you are? Tell me that.
But they're so happy because they passed the same sex marriage laws, and I mean, apparently they're happy. They say that they're happy. It's so
Yeah,
wrong.
apparently. I mean, you can say anything. The most depressed person. I mean, you go to someone in the hospital, his legs up in the air in a cast, and he's got drips out of his arms and blood transfusion, everything. You ask the person, "How are you doing?" You say, "I'm fine."
Right.
What's that? That's completely Maya. He's suffering, but he can't see you suffering. We all want to put on a show that we're happy, of course, because that was our mission of the soul coming. Like we've explained, why did we come to the material world? Because we want to imitate God. We want to be the enjoyer and the controller of everything. So even if you're not enjoying, even if you're not controlling, you've still got to present that to the rest of the world. Otherwise, you're a complete failure, right? And you're gonna end up in the loony bin. So you got to project that. Even inside, you're blazing fire of anxiety in your heart, is what all the shastras explain. Samsara dava nalalita loka, that there's a blazing fire in the heart, but you still got to present externally that you're very happy. And we see sometimes it'll all pop out in funny ways. Like you'll read, such and such, celebrity, pop star, we all, they were our idols, we thought they were the most happy people. We wanted to be like them. And what happened? They had a drug overdose and they died. Who was it? Who was that one? Who was that? Elvis Presley. I think
there's so many of them, I guess.
Yeah, he had a drug overdose, right? I mean, he was the idol of like half the planet. And then what happened? How did he finish his life? He killed himself. So what's that? I mean, he's beautiful and handsome and, you know, famous, but internally he's miserable. But of course, he's projecting. I mean, I was reading about one comedian. He makes other people laugh, and he's so good at it. I can't remember which one it was, but it was actually written that he was suffering from depression.
Yes, I know who you're talking about. His name's not coming to mind
Was
now.
that Charlie Chaplin or?
No.
Oh, Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey? Is that what Johnny said? Yeah, he was a famous. I read about him. Yeah, he was a famous comedian. Made so many people happy, but it was actually deep down. It had been revealed that he was suffering from depression. Actually, Charlie Chaplin, he was God conscious. Actually,
Mm.
he was very God conscious, so he wasn't depressed. So, and Krishna was empowering him with a lot of humor. So, and but this other comedian, he was suffering from depression, you know, because you know within a lot of people, you know, they're suffering, but externally you project, you know, ha ha, it's all good, you know, she'll be right, everything's fine, you know, but internally, you know, there's a lot of bad stuff happening. So, yeah, I mean, we know. I mean, from a scriptural point of view, it's impossible to be truly happy without Krishna consciousness. If you're not connected, and I can show you 100 million verses, you know, it's a bit of exaggeration, but I can show you a lot of verses that illustrate that you can't be happy without being connected with Krishna. You know, I mean, we're all connected with Krishna in one sense, you know, because you know we're made up of Krishna's energy, right? The soul, the body. We're not separated from Krishna at all, even for 1 second. We're all within Krishna, and we have an intimate relationship with him even now, but we're not conscious of that. So unless you're consciously connected with Krishna, we can't be happy. It's impossible. I mean, look, you can look at later on, chapter 2, text 66. It's impossible. Can't be happy. You know, there's so many verses. Every single chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, I can pull out verses that you can't be happy without Krishna consciousness. Therefore, a Krishna conscious person is always trying to spread the knowledge, trying to teach others. I mean, Prabhupada used the word preach. It's a bit of a heavy word nowadays. We don't maybe like to use the word preach so much because it's been misused a lot by some religions and that. So, but he used the word preach. But we like to share or distribute. You know, Krishna conscious. You know, devotees like to do that because we know that without Krishna consciousness, guaranteed there's suffering. We don't care. You know, he's a millionaire. He's going around in a limousine. He's got a mansion worth $100 million, but he's unhappy. You know, if he's not Krishna conscious. So we got to try to somehow slip him a Bhagavad Gita or give him some prasadam or something, you know, because he's not going to be happy without Krishna consciousness. You know, and it doesn't matter whether you're poor, whether you're rich, whether you're educated, whether you're not educated. You know, the main thing is, you know, you have to be Krishna conscious. You know, otherwise it's not going to be very good. You know, once you are Krishna conscious, then you will understand what your spiritual nature is, and you're going to understand what your physical nature is and your mental nature is, and all these things. So it's like, you know, imagine you got a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle, but imagine you lost the box. If you couldn't see the picture, you know, can you put the puzzle together without the picture, without seeing the whole picture? How are you going to put I mean, that was like, if I wanted to sum up what my life was like before I met the devotees, it would be like a jigsaw puzzle without the picture of the box. You know, I didn't know where all the pieces went. You know, it's just confusing. You're just lost, you know, completely lost. And I had money, I had a so-called education, I had a car, and I had, you know, so many things, food and good parents, fantastic parents, you know, in terms of physical, you know, providing physical things. And still I was unhappy.
And I think that's a great example of a jigsaw puzzle. If you don't know the picture, how are you going to solve the puzzle? And that's what is happening now. We don't have the picture, That's why we are making up different, trying to arrange it. It's basically using a concoction, speculating things. And that's what the problem is. We don't have the picture. And this, I think that you have to look at the whole picture, which is basically spiritual knowledge as well as material knowledge, to give the whole picture. At the moment, we have just half. People who are not Krishna conscious, they only have the half of the jigsaw puzzle, which is the lower knowledge. I mean, it's not the real knowledge, I guess. The material knowledge.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you study the earth. Okay, that's one piece. Study the water, one piece.
That's
the
right.
air, one piece. The fire, the light, one piece. Study your arms. Okay, one piece. Your head, your legs. Study, the opposite sex, one piece. Study the animals, the birds, one piece, one piece. Okay, but it's just a whole mess, and it doesn't help you at all. But Krishna consciousness is seeing the picture, and then everything makes sense. Okay, I know all about the legs now, and the head, and the arms, and the man, the woman, the animals, everything, the earth, the water, the fire. Where all the parts go. It all fits in. Where it all fits in, and yeah. I mean, it's a big topic, Varnashram and different things, knowing your nature and that. But
that's another thing. Yeah, I mean, in India, we have the caste system. People stigmatize. According to the scriptures, there are different roles. Nobody is big or small in the sense they are all important gods, right? I mean, they have to.
Yeah, like I said, would you ever say, I don't need my legs or cut my legs off? No, you love your legs as much as you love your head. You say, I love my head. I hate my legs, or I hate my arms. No, of course you don't. So, yeah, this is a big deviation of the original Varnashram Dharma. Modern day, what we call Hindu caste system is a big deviation, because they're dividing according to birth, janma. But if you look, chapter 4, text 13 of the Bhagavad Gita, very important. Chapter 4, text 13, Chaturvanyam mayashristam gunakama vibhagasha tashakatram apimam vijakatram aviyam. That Krishna says he is the father, or he is the creator of these divisions, Chaturvanyam, 4 Varnas. He is the father, the Kataram, but it's according to guna, karma, not janma. Krishna doesn't say the divisions according to janma in that verse. There's no janma in the verse. It's nothing to do with your birth. It's according to guna and karma. So two things to determine which Varna you're in. Your guna, which means your quality. What is quality? Well, we've said whether you're sattva, whether you're raja, or whether you're tama, or a mix of raja and tama. So according to your guna, your quality, and your karma. So that's another thing, that you have to do the work that's associated with your varna. You can't say, like I mentioned, oh, I'm a Brahmana, and what work do you do? I drive a taxi. You can't do that. You can't do that. You have to, if you're a Brahmana, you have to do the work of a Brahmana. What's the work of a Brahmana? There's 6 things. You have to study the Vedas, and you have to teach the Vedas. You have to do worship. You have to do puja, worship, and you have to yagya, worship, and you have to teach it to others. Yeah, Deepa, you're going to say something?
Oh, no. I said austerity. You said yeah.
Yeah, that's austerity is there within doing those things, because to study you have to get up early in the morning. So that's austerity is there. And because when do you worship the deities? Early in the morning. So that's tapasya. You have to get out of bed and have a shower, put on clean clothes when everyone likes to be in their nice cozy bed up till 8 o'clock in the morning. No, but the tapasya of the brahmanas has to get up at 4 o'clock, to worship the deities. And he has, even in the middle of winter, he has to take a bath, even if there's no hot water, still have to take a bath, and to get to do that puja, to do that worship. You know, so you have to do worship, and you have to teach others how to worship, and you have to give charity. You have to receive charity and give charity. So those are the 6 occupations of a brahmana. So you actually have to do that if you want to call yourself a brahmana, you know. And
Your friend you were talking about who drives a taxi, although he's so knowledgeable,
yeah,
and he, uh, but he could be telling people about the Vedas in his taxi. Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
know. I mean, I know Gulshan, when he's driving the taxi, he tells people about the Bhakti tree and about chanting and some things like that. So that's good. So you can. So, I mean, any occupation, you can connect it with the spiritual. I'm not saying you can't. But 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 that's the thing. If you're going to be if you're going to claim you are something, you have to do that work that's associated with. I mean, could someone call themselves a doctor if you've never done an operation?
Uh, Probably not. No.
I mean, you could say you are, but would anyone accept you as a doctor? No. I mean, if you've never done, if you've never did the study of to be a doctor, you know, if you've never gone through the education, the training to be a doctor, if you've never done the work of being a doctor, oh, but my mum and dad are doctors. I'm a doctor. My mum and dad are doctors, so I'm a doctor, right? Would anyone accept that?
No.
No, it's ridiculous. This is factual. My father is an engineer, so I'm an engineer automatically. No, I don't know anything about engineering. I don't care about engineering. I couldn't engineer anything to save myself, you know, like that. But I'll tell you what, but my brother is an engineer. So it is possible, because that was the idea, right? If you're brought up by a particular class like an engineer, there's a good chance that it'll rub off on you, and you will learn that from your father, and he'll teach it to you, and you'll become interested in it and like that. So it is possible. So it can happen that, yeah, the father is a doctor, so the son does become a doctor, but it's not automatic. I mean, my brother became an engineer, but I didn't. You know, I got interested in horticulture, which is more like, you know, Vaishya kind of things like that, and you know, completely different. And then I got into spirituality, and my brother doesn't have a spiritual bone in his body. He's just into rugby and all that kind of stuff. So we're completely different. You know, you can't. It's not automatic that they're all going to turn out to be like the parents or whatever like that. So that's a big mistake, you know, just to put everyone in a box saying, you know, that he's automatically a Sudra. You know, and you could have Sudra parents, but you could be a brilliant transcendentalist, you know, coming from them, you know, and or a brilliant Brahmin or whatever like that. So one one young boy approached Gautam Rishi, he's a Manasaputra, born from Lord Brahma, Gautama, and he approached him, can you make me a Brahmana? And and Gautama asked, who's your father? You know, well, like which Brahmana your father is? And the boy said, I don't know. So, I mean, that's not a good sign, right? We all know what that means. You don't know who your father is. So Gautam said, go and ask your mother. And so the mother, obviously a bit of some prostitute kind of nature there, maybe. So, and so he asked, who's my father? And the mother said, I don't know.
Oh.
So he went back to Gautam and said that, I don't know who my mother doesn't know. I don't know who my father is. And Gautam said, I will accept you as a disciple. because you are truthful. And that's a quality of a Brahmana. So that's very insightful. See, like that, I said, your guru, your teacher, he's smart. He can figure out what nature you have. He figured out that this young boy is a Brahmana in the mode of goodness because he told the truth. I mean, it would have been much better for him, easier, to make up a lie. Oh, my father is such and such Brahmana, like that. He's a Brahmana, he's this or whatever like that. He could have made up a story, but he didn't, even though it's very difficult, because sometimes, like that case, it's very hard to tell the truth. I mean, who wants to say, I don't know who my father is. My mum's a prostitute. Who wants to say that? So that's hard, but, and like Prabhupada said that, if you ask a real Brahmana how much money's in your bank account, he'll tell you. Because it's just, he's just conditioned like that to tell the truth. That's satyam. That's the nature he has and the quality of goodness. He's going to tell the truth. If you ask, ask the person, what's your weakness? How can I kill you? He'll tell you, this is my weakness. Even though, I mean, that was done with Dronacharya, right? With Dronacharya, that he knew that this particular person was destined to kill him. I can't remember this name right now. This particular person was destined would be the cause of his death. He was the son of another Kshatriya who was an enemy of him. I'm trying to remember. He was no. Who was that pious king? And he got very upset. I'm trying to remember that. Haven't read the Mahabharata for a while. But anyway, he became rivals with this other king, and this king did a yagya to produce a son that could kill Dronacharya. So this son was born, and Drishtajumna was his name. Drishtajumna was born. And then Drishtajumna approached Dronacharya, I would like to become your disciple. And he agreed, yes, I'll accept you. But other people saying, you're a nutcase. I mean, this guy is destined to kill you, and you're going to teach him how to fight. You're going to teach him how to fight, train him how to use weapons. He's going to use those weapons in due course of time to kill you. He said, no, that's my duty. He's approached me, to be my disciple, and like that. And he was a Brahmana, but what he was teaching is warfare. So he was teaching Kshatriya knowledge, but because he's teaching it, he's more than just a Kshatriya, but he's the Brahmana. Because remember, Brahmana means to teach, whether it's teaching gardening or teaching fighting or teaching whatever, spiritual stuff, but the fact that he was teaching. So he's been approached where this person generally wants to learn from him. So he accepts him like that. So it's very interesting. I mean, we've gone over time, but I mean, I find this all very fascinating stuff. But sorry to take your time.
No. I think we have taken your time. It's late there.
Oh, no, don't worry about that. That's not important. But these things are there, so you can figure out your nature from astrology, from a guru. Being with an advanced devotee can understand what your nature is and engage you. Because like Prabhupada would engage the devotees according to their nature. Like one of the disciples, Prabhupada could tell that he was very good at getting money. Somehow or other, money would just come to him like anything. So, and so he engaged them in collecting vast amounts of money. And his name was Garga Muni, right? Because Garga Muni was in Krishna Lila, Krishna's guru was Garga Muni, right? But all the devotees nicknamed him Garga Money.
Garga Money.
Not Garga Muni, Garga Money, because he was very good at getting money. But he would just give you know, he would open a briefcase full of money and give it to Prabhupada. So Prabhupada engaged him in attracting the money, collecting the money, but then he would use it in Krishna's service. So not for himself. Of course, before he would get the money for himself, but then Prabhupada taught him how to get the money and then use it in Krishna's service. So we all have a nature, and it's not bad. We say, oh, that's pretty bad that he was good at making money. There's nothing wrong with making money, but we have to use it in Krishna's service. That's the thing. So that's what the spiritual master helps us to connect what we're good at with Krishna, and then that will liberate us. Like I said, like if you use that money and build a temple for Vishnu, you're going back to Godhead, right? There's a verse in Bhagavatam that says, anyone that builds a temple for Vishnu, he gets a ticket back to Godhead. Just by doing that, you get more. So I mean, you can't do that without money, right? So whoever's got a lot of money, they can use it to build a temple for the Lord and get liberated. Whoever's getting that money can get liberated. Whoever gives that money. Like that. So and also by us doing what we're doing, studying, you know, daily, weekly, like that, we're getting this knowledge. We will be able to understand, okay, I know what the mode of ignorance is, what passion, goodness is, and we can see what our nature is, and we become a bit more insightful. And Krishna in our heart also is pleased by our service. We're chanting Hare Krishna and everything, and Krishna within our heart will enlighten us, you know, what kind of work we should be doing and everything like that. But the safe thing in the beginning is, like this is mentioning, that we have to approach a spiritual master and develop a relationship like that. And the spiritual master will give us guidance, because it's very important. We all need guidance. Otherwise, why is it when Krishna came to the earth, why did he accept a guru? Does God need a guru? When Lord Chaitanya came, he accepted a guru, Ishvara Puri. Does Lord Chaitanya need a guru? No, he's a guru of everyone. But he's accepting a guru. Why? To teach us the importance of accepting a guru. That, you know, everyone should have a guru. And of course, there's different kinds of gurus. There's initiating guru, one who we have a formal ceremony and in front of a sacrificial fire, and you make vows to chant 16 rounds, and in the case of ISKCON, and follow the four regulated principles: no meeting, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling. That's called a Diksha Guru. At the time of initiation, you get Diksha, initiation, you get a spiritual name. Your name is so-and-so Das, you know. So that's initiation. But there's also Shiksha Guru. And you only have one Diksha Guru. But you have many Shiksha Gurus. It means instructing spiritual master, giving us instructions. And actually, more important than that one ceremony that lasted maybe 1 hour in your life, more important than that Diksha Guru, and that is the Shiksha. Because the instructions are coming throughout our whole life from many people. And that's what's helping us develop and sustaining us and develop and everything like that. That's most important. Even a Diksha Guru, the main thing he's giving us is the Shiksha. It means instructions. You know, he's instructing us chant 16 rounds. He's instructing us don't eat meat. You know, so the main thing is the instructions. But don't take it that ceremony lasting 1 hour and you get a name is the main thing. I've seen some people have the ceremony, and then after it they lose the plot, and then they don't follow what they promised in that 1 hour, and then what's the point of that? So that's not the main thing. And then maybe you'd hardly ever even, you know, see your initiating guru after that. He might be the other side of the world or whatever, you know. But the main thing is the devotees that are giving you that day-to-day guidance and everything like that. And I know Prabhupada first met his guru in 1922, but he got initiated, got a name in 1933. So when would we say that his spiritual connection began?
22.
In 22. Not when he got initiated in 33. It begins when he first heard from his guru. when he first heard from the spiritual master. That's when the Krishna consciousness awakens and the connection is. Of course, Prabhupada was always Krishna conscious, but I'm just using that as an example. Prabhupada himself said that, that it began when he first met his spiritual master, first heard from his spiritual master. When Prabhupada's spiritual master first met him, he immediately said, "You're an intelligent young man. You should go to the West and preach the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in English, and this will do good for you and it'll do good for everyone." So Prabhupada was struck very heavily by those words, first words from his guru in 1922, and that was in his heart right from that day, right until 33 and right through his whole life, those words of his guru. So the main thing is definitely we need a Shiksha guru. If you have Diksha or no Diksha, initiation, not initiated, don't worry about that too much. In due course of life, in due course of time, that will happen. The main thing is you have a desire. If you have a desire to progress in spiritual life, whatever you need to help you progress will happen. And the other thing sorry to go over time, but just one more thing. It says search out here, 6, search out a spiritual master. We might think, how the hell do I search out a spiritual master? Can't even travel now. It's like COVID, lockdown, everything like that. So don't worry about that. It's said the main thing is you have an intense desire in your heart that you want to learn the truth. You want to search for the truth. You want to find out who you are, why you're here, why you're suffering. You're searching for the truth, and you're searching for God, and you've realized that you're suffering in this material world, and you don't want to do that anymore, and you're frustrated, exhausted materially. So when that's there, Krishna in our heart, he sees that, and he will arrange some suitable guide for us, or guides with ES. Guide or guides, however many we need, whatever we need, however many we need, he'll arrange that. So the main thing is having that genuine desire, that, like it's saying, not duplicitous, being very straightforward, very simple, that I want to get out of this material world. I want to understand, the truth. And Krishna will make all arrangements and give us the shiksha, the instructions that we need. And there is verses in the Chaitanya Charitamrita indicating that the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is so powerful that doesn't even depend on Diksha. I can show you the verses. Some devotees would either have a heart attack or get very angry with me and attack me to hear me say that. But it's a fact. I'm taking it from Chaitanya Charitamrita, our highest scripture, saying Diksha Purushacharya Vidi Apeksha Nakare Jiva Sparshe Achandale Sabare Udare. Now that verse is amazing. It's saying that the holy name doesn't wait for Diksha. It doesn't wait for any ritualistic ceremonies, anything before initiation, after initiation, doesn't wait for anything else. And it says that if the holy name comes on the tongue of even a chandala, which means like a dog eater, which is not a very good background to come from, even if the holy name comes on the tongue of a dog eater once, he is delivered. So that's it. I mean, the main thing is you need the shiksha to somehow give you the idea to chant Hare Krishna. Once you've received that shiksha to chant Hare Krishna, you're out of here. You're out of here. You don't even need any ceremony. Even if you never have a fire, who cares? Even if you never get an official name, Krishna Das, Radharani Dasi or whatever like that. I'm not saying don't do that, but I'm saying even if that doesn't happen, that you just need to take up those instructions to chant Hare Krishna mainly. And, and this hearing is all about encouraging us to chant Hare Krishna, basically. That's what it's all about, bring us to that point. And nothing else really matters. It's all a formality. Of course, the purpose of the ceremony is to get into our dull-brained head that, you're making a promise to chant Hare Krishna and follow these rules, giving up sinful activity in front of a guru, in front of the deities, because it'll be done in a temple, in front of Bhagavan, in front of the sacrificial fire, which is Vishnu, in front of all your friends, all the devotees are there. It's to impress. It's called samskar. It's to impress on our stupid Kali Yuga brain that this is a serious commitment, mate. You better get it together from today. Before today, you could, if you felt like it, you could chant. If you didn't feel like it, you could, not chant. But from today, you have to chant. But if someone is more intelligent and serious, then from yourself, you can take it up seriously already. You don't have to wait for the ceremony to become serious. You can just become serious. But for those dull-brained people, that's why in Kali Yuga it's recommended, get Diksha, initiation. But actually our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya is mainly a Shiksha Sampradaya. The main importance is on Shiksha instructions. The main importance is not the Diksha. But just because it's Kali Yuga, I mean, it is recommended, yes, because we're so, dull that we need all these external ceremonies to get it through our thick head, that you should take it as a commitment. It's like getting married, right? Why get married? Why go through the ceremony and have a 1 day or 2 day? I heard recently one person had a 7-day marriage. And that's actually good, because we're so stupid that you need 7 days to remind you, look, this is your wife. You got to look after her. This is your husband. You have to, look after him. You need to get it into your head, not just half an hour, and give them a ring and like that, it's all over. And then you get divorced after 3 months. It's like that. So it's a serious, you have to get into your head, because you spent, I mean, the person mentioned the father probably spent $500,000 on 7 days of elaborate, and mentioned he had new flower arrangements every day, and like that, it's all flash and everything like that, because it's serious, and like the guy's thinking, my dad spent $500,000, so I better make sure it works, so it's getting into our head. That's the whole reason why that culture's there, of doing all those things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, ultimate guru is Krishna, and anyway, I mean, he's in your heart, I guess, and that's very important as well. Siksha Guru is very important, because you may find Diksha Guru once you go through the Siksha Guru. Somebody you're gonna meet as somebody,
Yeah.
first. That's the start. I mean, Diksha is the secondary. I mean, once you go through those people, Siksha Gurus, then you probably look for a Guru. But I think ultimately Krishna is the Guru. He's Paramatma. He's inside us. If your sincere effort is there to understand, to learn, then he helps. I mean, that's definitely is going to be there. Yeah. So, I mean, whatever you said, yes, you don't have to. Some people look for Guru. I want Guru. But you have to learn. I mean, it's not a guru is not everything. He's not going to do everything for you. Still you have to do. He's going to instruct you, right?
Yeah. It said, by the mercy of Krishna, you get a guru, and by the mercy of guru, you get Krishna. Guru Krishna Prasadipaya Bhakti Lada Bija. So the idea is, like I said, Krishna's in your heart. He sees that you have some genuine desire now to search for him. You've become frustrated materially, exhausted materially. You're genuinely searching for something more, and you're lost, and you want to find your way to the real home. And then, so Krishna in your heart seeing that, then he will arrange that you meet the guru, and then the guru will train you how to get Krishna, how to serve Krishna, because you can't go to Krishna unless you can serve Krishna. unless you know how to please Krishna and how to serve Krishna. So you need to get trained up. You need to become, like I said, to be a doctor, you have to be qualified. If you want to live with God, and it's even much more qualified than being a doctor. You have to be 5 years to be a doctor, right? So how much more to become, a personal servant of God, living with the most purest person. So you need training. So that's why the guru trains us how to approach God, how to serve God, everything like that. So yeah, so Krishna gives us the guru and the guru gives us Krishna. So it's good
Oh,
team.
so in terms of guru is basically you're not reinventing the whole thing again. Guru already knows and he can direct you. Otherwise, what will happen? I mean, for example, you gave a doctor's example. If nobody teaches, doctors are taught by doctors, right? Professors and doctors.
Yeah.
If they don't teach it, you have to start from scratch, right?
Yeah.
So the guru knows everything. So that's why shortening your training, or
Yeah.
you don't have to spend too much time. Somebody's already worked that out.
Yeah, I mean, can you become a doctor just by studying the medical manual? No, you can't. No one would accept you. Like, so no, I didn't go to the doctor's college, but I read the book.
Yeah.
No one's going to accept you. You have to look at the book, yeah, and whether it's a doctor, an engineer, or a chef or whatever. But you also need a personal teacher. You can't you need the theory, but you need the person that can apply that theory in the practical life, that can demonstrate that's been applying the theory and practice, and we can see how it works.
Yep.
You can't become advanced just by, I mean, the book is essential, don't get me wrong, but you can't become advanced just by studying the books. You need the living example of the book. It was the teacher. You need the living example of the book. It's said there's two Bhagavatas. There's the book Bhagavata and the person Bhagavata. You need both. The book Bhagavata, which is like Bhagavad Gita, and the person Bhagavata, I mean the person that is living the Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, person is living it, and then you can advance like that. So it's said you have to serve both. You have to serve the book Bhagavata, and you have to serve the person Bhagavata, and then you can become also a Bhagavata, person Bhagavata. That's the process. Anyway, we've gone way over time.
Yeah.
So sorry. Apologies to your family members for mucking up your schedules.
No, that's fine. I think you have spent too much time. Anyway, thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.